Sometimes I have to make these videos just to hold myself accountable when I start noticing patterns. And it doesn't happen all the time, but one thing I noticed that it usually occurs if there's a lot of shit going on in life and in work and I'm not getting enough sleep. And let's say I skip a workout or don't do a hike or anything physical the next day after I didn't get good sleep, which is not a good idea. You should push yourself even if you didn't get that much sleep, because it helps you out a lot at the end of the day. But when that happens, sometimes you'll hit a weak moment, a weak spot, and those two evil fuckers will creep in. Doubt and worry. Some of my two biggest enemies. And you have to find a way to check yourself, because those two enemies can cause you a lot of problems. And with that being said, you know, I think back to when I played baseball or was in wrestling or had fist fights or any type of competition or thing like that. There's times where I would go in and I have doubt or worry, failed mission. Then there's times where, I don't know if you call it lying to yourself or just flat out delusion, but you psych yourself out to thinking you're King Kong or Superman. And whatever it is, the difference is 90% of the time when I had that mind state, I won. The other time, I lost. You know, and of course, you know, that's the mentality of a champion, of a winner anyway. But when you're not actively competing in sports or combat sports or things where shit's on the line immediately, sometimes regular life will have you fooled like you're still not competing. And yeah, we could go the hippie route and say none of it's competition. And if you're strong enough mentally to always have that with you, then that's fine. But the point is sometimes that delusion that you're King Kong, Superman, or you envision the win, you foresee the win, the amount of help that gives you is way over versus the opposite, which is also delusion. Because a lot of times when you psych yourself out to lose with doubt and worry, at least in my experience, that shit's way more potent. And usually you already have the skill set to do something, but those two enemies creep in and they fuck up your whole game. And yeah, it's just a reminder. Doubt, worry, get those fuckers out of here. Now, the reason why this is even more important when it comes to music or things that are creative or even business, unless you have the greatest support team on the planet and your family is 100% behind you in anything you do, a lot of times you're gonna have doubt and worry inflicted upon you from the outside in heavy amounts. So you're gonna have to muster up the psychology to get you over that hump, because many times that stuff runs rampant and in the environment or in your surroundings. Like I'll give you an example. When I recorded Coco Shack, I had a lot of people told me that could not be done because first of all, back then studio time was super expensive, couldn't afford it, and nobody I knew was making albums at the house. So at that time, I had a Hewlett Packard with the dial-up modem, you know, the one that goes through the phone line, and no sound card. The only sound card that I was using was the one that was in the computer. And what was this? This was around, let me see what was out during that time. It was Cakewalk 9. Yeah, Cakewalk 9, Adobe Audition, I think the first one. But so what you had to do is you had to plug the line from whatever audio source into the back of the computer. And the way I had to sync it is every single track that I had to record a beep sound to give a square sine wave. Not a sine wave, but the beep would show up as a square almost on the screen. So let's say like Words to Look After, that was about 8-9 tracks. So I would see that square, I would have to play the whole thing through and line everything up at the end so I could mix it. And like I said, that had never been done. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I had to fight doubt and worry. Not so much from myself during this time, but from the people around me. I know that kind of got off subject, but the whole reason this came into be in the first place is usually when I'm jumping into a new venture or something like that, people are more apt to support me nowadays because I've already proven myself in many ways. But sometimes you have to check yourself because those old evil fuckers will creep in and try to take you out. So yeah, I think that's the end of that one.